Hello everybody. Today I want to review this GoCheer 480 square foot dehumidifier. It can be purchased on Amazon.com. It is a Chinese made dehumidifier. It uses a Peltier junction internally for the cooling instead of a compressor. For those of you who aren't familiar with what a Peltier junction is, it's basically a module that's made up of two different materials, and when a current is run through it, one side of the Peltier junction gets hot, the other side gets cold. They're mainly used in small coolers or maybe some small refrigerators. The advantage is with a Peltier junction style dehumidifier is that it uses a lot less electricity than a compressor style. The disadvantage is that it's not quite as efficient. So for an example, if the temperature in this room were to get below 60 degrees or in the 50-degree range, it would be very hard for this dehumidifier to pull much moisture out of the air. But as the temperature gets above 70 degrees, especially into the 80s or 90s, Peltier junction style dehumidifiers do a fairly good job at pulling the moisture out. I'd like to show you the control here, the controls. The front panel, the top panel here has basically one button, and it's to power it off and on. You can see right here that powers it off. This indicates that there is power running to the dehumidifier. That turns it on. This illuminates when the reservoir gets full. Now, one of the main reasons why I purchased this is that it was very efficient, but it also has an attachment right there for a drain hose. And let me show you the box. Excuse the mess in the room. This is my project room. So this is the box that the dehumidifier came in. And inside the box is the vinyl drain hose. I haven't connected the hose yet, that'll be later. Some of you may notice right here that I had this little module on top. What that is, I'll tell you more about this. It's a Zigbee temperature and humidity sensor, and I use that with a smart home app and a smart switch. I've got a smart plug plugged into the wall feeding the power to the dehumidifier. Actually, it's plugged into this power strip right here. See that smart switch? And that smart switch is hooked up to my Smart Life app. And when the dehumidifier is running, I can actually see the power usage, and it's pulling about 51 watts, which really isn't that much. I mean, think about, a 60-watt bulb. So this is using a less wattage while it's running than a 60-watt light bulb. It's about 51 point something watts running. So the purpose of this Zigbee temperature and humidity sensor is when this humidity sensor gets below 65%, I've got it programmed in my Smart Life app to turn the switch off. Because there's no humidity control on this dehumidifier, I'm basically using Zigbee with the Smart Life app and that smart switch to flip it off and on. It works pretty good. So when the dehumidifier gets the humidity level down, and depending on whether the air conditioner is running down here in this room, when that humidity level drops, this thing will flip off. And then of course when the humidity level comes back up, the dehumidifier flips back on. Now I did purchase this not so long ago. It was probably about a month ago. And we can see right here is a printout. It was a GoCheer. It says Upgraded Dehumidifier, 480 square foot. I'll put a link down in the description. But I paid $89 plus tax. So it was about 90 something dollars for this dehumidifier. Now the crazy thing is, I actually have another dehumidifier. I'll show it in another video, but it's almost identical to this one. And it was this one right here. It was the VOAir, and it showed to have a 350 square foot capability, and it's also $89.99. But I purchased that dehumidifier over probably about a year ago, and it was not $90 when I purchased it. So inflation's hitting everywhere. Yeah, I purchased it June 13th of last year, and I think I paid about $79 for it. But anyway, the crazy thing is, this is a VOAir, and this one that we're looking at is actually the GoCheer, and they're essentially identical. The only difference is the VOAir has kind of a blue instead of a gray reservoir, but they look pretty much identical. And I've got the other one set up in the same manner, but I've got the drain hose hooked to it so I don't have to dump it. Now, one of the awkward things about this is if you do not use the drain hose, let me show you. It's a bit difficult to pull this reservoir out and pull this top off. So when you pull this top off to pour it out, you could actually just undo the plug. But if you pull the top off, it's a little bit hard to seat it back down on here to line everything up, because it's very thin right here. And be careful, do not drop this reservoir. So I recommend using the drain hose when you can, because you don't want to drop the reservoir and risk busting it, because if it gets a crack in it, the thing's going to be pretty much useless. So it's a bit difficult to slide this back in. So again, dumping it, putting it back, it's a pain. So use the drain hose if you can. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to hook that drain hose up, and all the issues of dumping this thing goes away. Anyway, there's even a carrying handle right here. Now, I do have an old Kenmore dehumidifier. It's a full, roll around style that's on the ground, and I really like that thing. I've used it for years. The problem is it uses a lot of electricity. With these right here, I think it's about, if they run constantly, it's pretty much about $4 or $5 a month. And I was using quite a bit more with the Kenmore. I believe the Kenmore was costing me about, it was at least $30 a month when it ran, not even all the time. So as long as this is pulling enough moisture out of the air, and this room is subterranean, it's underground, as long as there's enough water being pulled out of the air, I'll be happy, because it's a savings on electricity. But anyway, I'll put a link in the description, and if you have any comments, go ahead and comment. If you have any questions, let me know. Thank you.